So that's one technique you can use to teach the pivot turn. Basically what you do is you grab your leash, you hook it up to your dog, you run the leash behind you, so the leash goes across your body but behind you. You make sure that there is no slack, so you don't want to hold it like this. You want to hold it kind of like this. There's a little bit of tension there, but not a lot. And then what you do is, as you turn, okay, as you make your turn, you start kind of pulling in your dog's direction. And the leash is attached to a training collar. It could be a star mark collar, it could be a prong collar, it could be a slip leash, whatever you normally would use. So as you're turning, you pull a little bit, and as you're pulling, this pulls the dog's body towards you with the hip leading their body. So if you look at that again, that's exactly what happens. Now, the pivot skill is a two-party skill. What I mean by that is the dog has to learn the skill and the human has to learn the skill. So a lot of times what people do when they're pivoting, right, when they're making that pivot turn, is they do one of these like very quick turns. And so what happens is now the dog has to have super fast reflexes to try to catch up with you, and that's nearly impossible because you're a lot of times kind of catching the dog off guard. So it is incredibly fast. It's very difficult for the dog to catch up to that. And most often than not, even if the dog does predict your movements and starts turning towards you, because you're turning so fast, your dog is not going to be at the same speed that you are. So the best way to a bow turn, okay, for the human, and when I practice this, or when I have a client practice this, I have them practice this without their dog. So what I have them do is, as they're walking, I'll have them stop with their left leg. Their right leg is kind of facing this way, right? And then now we just go this way. And that's the way we make that turn. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe and share it with somebody else you think might find it helpful. So I'm gonna do it again. We're walking, left leg. This is assuming the dog is on the left, right? If the dog's on the right, you do that the opposite way. So left leg, the right leg will point towards my left. So my right leg will be like this. Okay, and then I'll just turn this left leg and then I'm back that way. This creates a very smooth 180-degree turn, which when you compete, that's what they want to see. What they don't want to see in competition fields is they don't want to see this type of turn. This is called a U-turn. You're going to lose points depending on the sport that you do. You're going to lose points. That's not considered a 180-degree turn. What they want to see is they want to see this nice, smooth 180-degree turn. That is a 180-degree turn. And so again, I'm going to be walking. Left leg is going to stop. Right leg is going to point that way. So I'm stopping this way. And then I'm going to turn that way and I'm going to go that way. This is very similar to the technique called T to T. So it's called T to T. It's a different technique because you're making two T's. So you're making a T with your foot and you're making another T with your foot, and now you go. So that's the T to T technique. You're walking, you're about to make that about turn, and you do it this way. So it's the same thing, but the only difference is I'm not doing like a tight T. I'm just stopping. I'm doing this, and I'm doing it that way. The reason I like that over the T to T, the T to T is so tight that it looks almost a little bit unnatural. So by doing it with a little bit of a gap, you have this nice natural flow. Again, this is not something that I do with the dog. Okay, if I were to try to do this with the dog, we would both be frustrated, right? Because I'm trying to figure out my steps, and then I'm also trying to figure out how to get my dog to turn at the same time with me. It's chaos. But a lot of people make that mistake. They'll get on the training field and they try to teach themselves the about turn right along with their dog. So teach your dog the skill, and as you're doing it with your dog, so as you're making that turn with your dog, as you're teaching your dog, don't worry about what you're doing. Okay, your dog has to learn how to master that first before you combine it. So you also have to master, because even though I just explained it to you and I showed it to you, once you actually do it, it's difficult. It's like learning a little dance move. So it does take a lot of repetition for it to come natural to you. Once that's natural to you, and once it's natural to your dog, you put them together, and then you're not gonna have as many issues. Now, that technique with the leash behind you, that is one technique, okay? There are other ways to do it. There are people that do it other ways. I've also done it other ways with luring. There's different styles to do it. This is just one way, and the reason I like to do it this way with the leash, it's easier to teach to a client. It's easier to teach to a club member who, you know, they don't have like as much time to dedicate to that one single skill as maybe somebody else would. Right, so it's relatively simple to teach, relatively simple to learn, and the dog can pick it up without a whole lot of complexity. If you find this video helpful, let me know what else you'd like me to touch on.